Crowbar is a band I've been so excited to rank. This is one of my favourite bands ever. I am all for another excuse just to go through this entire discography again. Man, those early records slap so hard. There's your spoiler. Which one's the best? Crowbar doesn't have a bad album, but the least interesting one to me is Life's Blood for the Downtrodden. These riffs hold a very different feel to the normal Crowbar stuff. It still kind of sounds like Crowbar, but the riffing, like, it's still doomy, it's still gloomy, but there's just something off about it. And I can't really work out what that missing element is. There's some decent tracks here, Slave No More, Angel's Wings. Like, there's definitely some rippers here, but overall this record just kind of feels like meandering. It definitely feels like they're going through the motions. A pure 7 out of 10 for me. Similar thoughts and feelings for The Serpent Only Lies, except from, I think this record overall, like as a package, is a better record, but it's missing the hits. Like, there's not a song where it's like, I want to go back to The Serpent Only Lies for this song. And for that, I think it lacks like a little bit of an element of memorability. Does feel like yet another just meandering, going through the motions record. But it's okay, this is a good one. It's still like a 7 out of 10. Again, I don't think Crowbar has a bad album. These guys are very consistent. You might notice I'm skimming through these, and that's because I want to talk about the albums that I do love. Equilibrium is a bit of an unlucky album because it's sandwiched in between two of this band's best. And evidently it does kind of feel like a bit of a rush job, especially when you look at that like really awful album cover. It's probably the worst album cover they've got. But one thing that this album has that the ones that I just covered don't is that classic Crowbar old school feel. Doom and gloom, sludgy, heavy, espresso depresso anthems. The opposite of Hatebreed. There is also some setlist classics on here, especially I Feel the Burning Sun. Down Into the Rotting Earth is also another great track. It's just, all the albums above it are just better, man. This band's got some proper bangers to cover. And lastly, to top off this like quick run through of the 7 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s, is the newest album. By far the best out of the ones I've just covered. This one's got lots of variety. The production's really crisp, very heavy. Lots of variety within the songwriting. You can definitely feel they were going for like a strong flowing package with this one. And one thing I didn't mention is that just over time, Kirk's vocals just got better and better and better. He sounds fucking amazing here. And this record just strikes me as a really souped up, focused, very like sharp version of The Serpent Only Lies. Yeah, well played, Crowbar. This is a great record. Okay, it's time to talk about the albums that I think are fantastic, and I think the weakest of the best is the debut. If you don't know Crowbar, there's a chance you've probably heard I Despise from like all the ranking metal genre trends that have been going around. More than anything, this album feels like a blueprint. It feels like a demo for everything that's to come. It's pretty much like a very no gimmicks, like, this is a sludge metal band, this is what we're about, this is what we're gonna do. It's super lumbering, it's super just, like, miserable, and that's like a good thing for this band. And whilst it's a nice blast from the past, I think the band just got infinitely better going forward. The reason it's above the records below this one is that I just really love the rawness of this record. Like, this is a very genuine, authentic record, straight from the heart. I think Time Heals Nothing is great, but I think it's plagued by bad production. This band needs low end. It needs like fullness to its sound. And this record's just missing that. I think this is one of the worst productions this band has. And it is entirely propped up to this part of the list by its songwriting. I think the songwriting is great on this record. The Only Fact Are, the fucking Embracing Emptiness as well. The title track. Like, there are some really, really great tracks on this record, but it is so held back by the production. It's not one of those productions where it's like unlistenable, it's just frustrating. I listen to it and I'm like, man, this could have been so good. But it's definitely still worth listening to. This is still a fantastic album. I'll be the first person to admit I ignored this album for the longest time. And that's mainly just down to the album cover. I don't think the album cover's very interesting. In fact, I think a lot of Crowbar's album covers are kind of weak. But man, this album is heavy as balls. I love the guitar tone on this record. If Crowbar didn't already have a self-titled, I think this would probably be a self-titled. Really just encapsulating everything that they've done up to this point. It's miserable, it's lumbering, but it's still got that hardcore punk DB edge to it. Especially in songs like Ageless Decay, like these songs are rippers. Reflection of Deceit as well is probably my favourite track from this record. So fucking balls to the wall heavy. It's a little bit long, sitting at almost 50 minutes, but I think this is a great front to back listen. Plenty of variety, lots of self-loathing, especially in that final track. Really fantastic closer. Yeah, this is just a great album, and I'm really sad I missed out on it. Don't be put off by the album cover. This one's great. Now, Sever the Wicked Hand is the best record outside of like the 4 classic records that they have. If none of these records had names or album covers, I'd think this is in the same realm as like Broken Glass. It really feels like it comes from that era of the band. This one is so groovy, man. Those first two tracks, the 1-2 punch of Isolation and the title track, are so good. Some of the best tracks they've done in this discography. Massive breakdowns in these ones that last like half the track, and it's just, you know, that would be a complaint with any other band, but this band just makes it work. This is also one of the only records to have a double bass pedal featured in Protectors of the Shrine, with almost like a death metal influence being involved in that song. I don't know, dude. Going through this whole discography again, when I got to this one, I forgot how much I loved it, and I span this a lot. If you're one of the people that clocked out after Sonic Excess, I recommend this record, because this is the one you are missing. I think this is a completely unmissable record. Sheer brilliance from a band that has so many brilliant albums. Right, from here on out, this band gets very hard to rank. We've only got 4 albums left, but all of them in my eyes are like 9.5, 10 out of 10s. Fuck, man, I didn't even plan this like ranking very well. I'm kind of hungover this morning, so if I sound down, that's why. I don't know what fucking album comes next. I think it's Broken Glass. Now, don't be put off by its number 4 spot. This album is so fucking good, dude. This album is amazing. Top to bottom, I think this record is just like, every song is so good. Conquering and Like Broken Glass are 2 of their most popular tracks, and it's for a good reason. Especially Like Broken Glass, it's like, that riff is so infectious, it's so groovy. They play it live all the time, and when I last saw them, they played it as an encore. Like, you know, the whole, they came off the stage, came back on, and finished with Like Broken Glass, and it was fucking mental, dude. I think if I had to give it a reason for being below the other ones, it's that I just don't come back to it as much as the records above it. The production's perfect, the fucking riffing is perfect, it's miserable, it's heavy, it's disgusting, it's everything you want from this band. I could listen to I Am forever just for eternity, honestly. Oh my god, dude. The self-title's next! Top to bottom, masterpiece. Every song is insane. I think this is a 10 out of 10. I have bogged my girlfriend down with Existence is Punishment so much, I almost think she probably hates that song now. I learned the truth inside myself. It might be because I'm hungover, but I don't even know what to say. Just listen to this record. High Rare Extinction, All I Had I Gave. Second half of Fixation is some of the heaviest music I've ever listened to in my life. Production is just huge. Kirk sounds great. There's lots of variety in the songwriting. Just fucking listen to it, man. All the same things I said for the self-titled applies to Oddfellows Rest. This is the band's most popular album, I think. Partly due to Planets Collide, and I think when me and my girlfriend saw it live, I think I almost cried. Every song is just bleeding with personality. Like, this album never, ever gets boring, and it gets more somber and heartfelt as the record goes along. I think the breakdown into Carry the Load is like top 3 breakdowns of all time. Behind the Black Horizon was one of my first Crowbar songs. Scattered Pieces Lay has that absolutely beautiful, like, melodic ending. And then they raise the key for it, and it just gets, like, so, like, oh, man. Oddfellows Rest is just a perfect fucking album. I think if you're new to this band, you should start with this record and then move on to the record I'm about to talk about. I think Sonic Excess is one of the greatest records ever written. I'm sure I've said that about quite a few records in all of my rankings, but I genuinely believe, even not just in metal, I just think this is one of the greatest albums ever. Guys, this one is so thick with emotion from song to song. And it's paced perfectly as well, from like an emotional masterpiece into a heavy ripper into an emotional song. Awakening is my favourite song, like, in this discography, bar none. The Lasting Dose up to Counting Days is just some of the best music ever written. And then the second half of the album just, like, tops this off. I'm sorry my improv for this video is, like, not very analytical or technical. I just don't know what else to say, really. It's extremely heavy. The production is perfect. Kirk sounds perfect. The songwriting is perfect. Fight me on it. I will glaze this album till the end of time. It's like in my top 3 albums ever of anything. Yeah, Sonic Excess wins this.